Hi, Matt with eTrailer. Today we'll be talking about the Thule Roof Rack on our 2025 Subaru Forester. Now this is going to be a great option because it's going to have a really nice look to the top of our roof and it's really easy to work with. So let's check it out. Now roof racks are great for giving you extra space for you to load up your cargo. Now another option is going to be your hitch, where you can put a cargo carrier back there or even a trailer. The downside to that is it's going to extend the footprint of your vehicle by a decent amount, making it harder to get into those really tight spots like a parking spot or garage. With this, we don't have to worry about that. Now something that makes this one stand out compared to the other ones, again, is going to be that fit. And that's what we're mainly going to be talking about today, is how this Thule roof rack is going to be working with our Forester. Now it is important that you get the right one for you because the Forester is going to have different roof options. So the one we have right now is a flush option. So I can come over here and grab this rail. A naked roof option is not going to have any rail on here at all. And then a raised rail option is actually something where I can get my hand underneath that rail. So it's important, once you figure that out, use our fit guide to make sure you get the right one for you. But first, let's talk about the components that come with this kit. So we're going to have the crossbars on the very top. We're going to have the tower, and then underneath the fit kit. So let's start with the crossbar. The crossbar is going to have this aero design to it. That's going to make it more aerodynamic to help reduce wind noise. And what's also going to help with that is going to be this weather stripping. This is going to be built in, and what this is designed to do is keep out any debris as well. And this is going to be designed for your T-channel accessories, because there may come a time where you don't want to put your clamp-on accessory on here for various reasons. This is a great feature that we have. And this is going to go right into your tower. Now I've already unlocked mine. It's going to come with this plastic core. You can actually get a metal locking core in here later on if you want more security. I can get this removed just by pulling on it now. I will say this is a pretty good fit, so it might take a second. There it is. And it might look a little bit complicated in here, but there's really only a few parts. And the only part we have to tighten down to actually get this to be used is going to be this one nut here at the end. And this is actually going to be part of your fit kit. So your fit kit's going to be comprised of this nut, hook on the front, the backside, and this rubber pad. And this is what determines if you have a really good fit or not, because we're looking for something that's going to be as flush as possible to our rails, and this here is doing a really good job. We don't have any gaps, and it does look like it's custom made to be on this roof, because it is. Now let's get a couple measurements to see how it's going to fit up here or live up here. So the first one I'm going to get is going to be the distance underneath our crossbars. That's going to be a little bit under 3 inches, which is pretty good. Now if you have any really bulky clamps, that might be a little bit tight to work with. Or if you have one above your sunroof like we have right here, that also might be an issue. What's nice about these is the big thing to keep in mind is just keeping 27.5 inches between each crossbar. So in theory, you could even bring these further back. You might not have that issue with your sunroof, but definitely watch out for it. Now for the overall height it adds to our vehicle, going from our flush rails, this is going to be just around 3 inches, which is also pretty good. It's not going to stick up too high, but what I would recommend doing is taking the total height of your vehicle, your crossbars, and then anything on top of that, so you know if you can make it underneath a garage or another low point spot. Now something that's unique about this Thule roof rack is that this tower doesn't have any overhang to it, which is real nice. It gives you more of this just slim design to it. Now there's going to be another Thule roof rack out there that's going to have some overhang to it, which is also nice if you have longer items. Let's say you got something like your skis or a kayak. Typically you're going to want that closer to the side so it's easier to take off and put back onto your roof. And this is also going to be pretty sturdy. It's going to have a pretty good weight capacity, but what I'd recommend doing is just checking what your roof is rated for and then going from the lowest rated component so you don't damage anything. But in my opinion, this is probably going to be my top pick for a roof rack because again, it is easy to work with and it looks really nice up here. Another really good option too is going to be Rhino Rack or that Thule with that overhang if you want to make loading and unloading a bit easier. Now if you're curious to see the installation of this, just stay tuned, we'll walk you through the process. To begin the installation, we're going to lay out all our parts. So right now I'm going to have the crossbar and we're going to have the rubber stripping that comes with it. We're going to have parts of our fit kit in front of me, and we're going to have the tool to tighten it down. Along with that, we're going to have the tower and the end caps that come with them. I also recommend having a tape measure in hand to make sure you get everything nice and even. You'll notice I am missing a few parts, and that's because I already have the front crossbar installed, but it's going to be the same process for both of them. And having a flathead screwdriver isn't required, but it is pretty handy, and I can tell you why in this next step. So, we're going to grab a tower. It's going to go right into this opening right here. Make sure you just match up the contour, the shape of that tower to the shape of this crossbar. We'll push it in. You're going to meet some resistance at this point with this block. What I'll do a lot of times is pull that back. I'll press down on it a few times, almost to loosen it up, just a little bit more give when I push it into place. Because you don't have to push that down and slide that underneath this opening here. What you can do to make this a bit easier is you can push down with a flathead and try to slide it in. Because this can be a little bit rough on your hands sometimes, so I find this to be helpful if you are having issues with it. Still will be a little bit tricky, but if you get through this part, it's all smooth sailing. Now that we got that in, we can just push it all the way in until it matches up with that opening right there. And we're just going to leave this kind of loose for right now. So what you can do at this point is start putting on your fit kit. So I'll flip this around and make it a bit easier for myself. And these parts of your fit kit are going to be labeled with letters. So you're going to be C, B, and then A. And you're going to put them on in that order. So we're going to start with A. It's going to go into this opening right here. Have that bolt go through, just like that. With that done, we'll grab B. That's going to go into the opening here. Just matching it up with the contours of the tower. And then we're going to put C on, which will grab around the end of this hook here and have that opening line up with that bolt. And the last thing you can do to make sure everything stays in place is grab this little nut. This is going to be a threaded side. Line that up with the bolt and just loosely tighten it down just by a couple turns. And make sure you do that on the other side. And from here, we're going to grab this weather stripping. I'm going to just tear this in half because there will be a little seam here in the center that I'll naturally want to separate from. We're going to start with the side with the arrow. There's going to be a little small little sliver here that sticks out a little bit further. We're going to line that up with an opening there. Just like that. You want to make sure this is facing the front of your crossbar. That's going to be the thicker side. You're just going to push that into place. All the way across. And then you'll have the second one. Same process. You'll have that thinner side, a little thinner piece here. That's going to go into this opening on the back side. And that's going to be the same process. And now we can put this on our roof. Again, the thicker side is going to be the front side, thinner side, the back side. We're just going to be kind of roughly placing this up here. It doesn't have to be perfect at this moment. Just as long as it's grabbing around these rails on your roof. Now, if it's not grabbing around these rails on your roof, you can try loosening this. If it's an issue with the clamps here, that'll allow enough room to sit around there. And then if you find that the tower is just not lined up with this rail, you can actually extend or retract this by pushing or pulling on it. Now we want to make sure it's in the right spot, so we can get a few measurements. And that main one's going to be getting our crossbar spread. So that's going to be the end of one crossbar to the end of another one. And we're going to want a minimum of 27.5 inches. So make sure you get them both up here. And if it's below that, just widen them out a little bit. But if it's a little bit past that, just make sure it's going to work with whatever gear you'll be putting on top of your crossbars. And make sure it's even, and once it is, we can tighten this down. And that process really is just going to involve us coming over here to that little nut, hand tightening it to begin with, And then, using our included tool, we'll tighten it down a little bit more where we have just a little resistance. When we have a little resistance, then we'll go to the other side and repeat that same process, going back and forth until this is all the way tightened down. And the way we're going to be able to tell if this is tightened all the way is when you hear that click after you turn it enough. Now I'll get that out, and we'll grab our end caps. And if you haven't yet, you can put this plastic lock cord into place just by pressing on it. What I'll do still is just make sure it's in correctly, so I'll turn it. That's going to work. If you turn it 180 degrees and it pops into place even a little bit more, then it is fully seated. We'll line it up to the contour of the tower. There it is. And lock it into place. And from here, give it a good shake test. Make sure it feels good, that it's not going to go anywhere. And if it does, then you can load it up and take it out for a ride. Of course, if you guys have any questions, let us know here at eTrailer. And again, I'm Matt, and thanks for watching.